Hello Internet, how are you? My name is Gabe, Freaky Fatality otherwise known. I'm going to show you the art supplies I use and talk about a little bit of the books I carry. One of the first books I got on drawing comics was I Draw Comics. I kickstarted it because I liked it and I wanted to start drawing a comic that me and my wife had an idea for. So I went out and I kickstarted this and I finally received it, and I'd even forgot I ordered it. And this is reference guide. It has a bunch of lessons. I never did the lessons. I did do them on a shipper sheet of paper. It tells you to do it in here. There's perspective. You can barely see it. I'm sorry. And then drawing figures, 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective, composing a scene, everything. But in the back, what I liked is it had like essential tools that every comic book artist should have. And then of course my just a nice sketchbook, upside down. Just sketching around, nothing major in here. Just practice drawing with that. The other paper I use is Scrapmore Bristol board for my main. This is Series 200 smooth. Has all the comic lines put down, like your bleed line, cut lines, and everything. How to do double page layouts. Favorite, This is the stuff DC uses. They use a higher grade than this, but it's the same size, 11 by 17. As for my digital stuff, well, let me get into the books first. Every book, was that I Draw Comics, and How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. One of my favorite books of all time, Really breaks down everything, how to do loose sketching, and to lay out your characters first. And then for anatomy, it's Bridgman's Guide to Drawing. Bridgman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. And this is an anatomy book for drawing, You name it, it's in here, and it shows you a sketch, Another really great. And then the DC guides for drawing comics. Freddie W., one of my favorite artists, did the digital drawing one. There's the penciling and inking by Klaus Johnson, another great series of books. And then lettering and coloring by, I'm going to ruin these names, Mark Cielo and Todd Klein. I've really gotten into comic books lately. I've always been into comic books, but lately I've really been uber into comic books, and me and my wife came up with an idea, so we're going to try. She's going to write it, and I'm going to draw it, and we're going to see how that goes. But those are my main books and paper that I use. Now for the drawing supplies, I always carry around this little leather globe pouch, and in it I always carry my Mars plastic eraser. Not in here right now, but my Kum automatic long point sharpener. I love this thing. It has 2 different sharpeners, step 1, step 2. And step 1 sharpens it and gives it a really long lead, but it's a blunt lead. And step 2, you get it and you refine that lead and get it real pointy. Everyone should get one of these. These are one of the best sharpeners I have. It comes with an extra set of blades too, which you rarely see in good sharpeners. Now for my penciling, here's what I mainly carry. My standard mechanical pencils. One with blue. I just ordered another one so I can put non-photo blue and replace this. And then black. And then this shaker one. You shake it and the lead advances. Just a neat one. I got another pen that I'll show you. Here's my Tombow Mono Zero eraser. It's just a real fine square little eraser. When I'm doing detail work, I like it because it has a small, it's clickable. When I'm using big areas, I do use the bigger Mars plastic one. And then the stump for getting my shades and everything. Extra erasers, 3 of them. And then for my pencils, I keep my Prismacolor Ebony. Glen Keane, one of my favorite animators of all time, did a lot of Disney stuff, Beauty and the Beast and everything. He uses this to put down his rough sketches. Everybody always thought he used a China marker, but I found it was this. He actually used a different one, but they don't make it anymore. He used one made by Stanford. But since Prismacolor is Stanford now, this is pretty much the same pencil. I have used the Stanford one. It is a little bit lighter on the page when I'm putting down stuff. It's just real smooth. I carry with me a mini straight edge. I found this at an art shop. It's actually come in handy, like more than I thought it would. I don't like carrying around a big ruler, and I hate using the side of my book because then it gets a black line on the side of my book. Got that, and I've used that ever since. I use these Prismacolor color erase. They're one of my favorites. I've used it for 2D animation, which people who follow know I'm a 2D animator and going to school for 3D animation at Full Sail University. And I use my Prismacolors for animating and sketching, and I usually use the 4 colors. Usually use 5 colors, red, blue, black, non-photo blue, and purple, but I ran out of purples. For my regular pencils, for putting on the lines, I have 2. These are my main ones. Tombow Mono 2B. I've read this on a lot of animation forums. A lot of people use it. I finally found it at a shop because I never wanted to order them, and I bought as many as I could. I bought like 5 2Bs and a bunch of other grades. And the Blackwing 602 by Palomino. I used to use the 602 back then when I was a kid. Loved it. Looked them up later on when I was doing my 2D animation because Chuck Jones found out used it, and they were going for like $45, but then this Palomino company brought them back. So that's what I use for my 2D sketching. And then on the other side, this is a 2-sided little leather pouch. I'd like one a little bit bigger, but this is actually better. I don't carry as much. I have a tendency to carry too much. For corrections and for putting highlights or any white, I use Presto by Pentel. I got 3 of these. These are hard to get in my town. Can't find them anywhere. My little niece said she gets them at Walmart, but I've yet to see them there. Art Shop gets them, and I bought 3 of these. They're $5 a piece there. They're asking a little over, but when I order them from Staples, I have to order like 10 to make it reasonable shipping. And then for inking, I use Pitt pens, extra small, fine. I usually use a full set of brushes, extra small, fine, everything, but I've ran out of them, and I'm just waiting for my living expense money to come so I can go get some. My favorite is the brush pen. I love brush pens just for even writing because just how unique line they are. And this one's refillable, and it's actually a brush. That's little bristles, just like a sable brush. And as you can tell, it is refillable with Pentel FP. So the Pentel refillable brush pen is my favorite. I have 2 of them. I bought this one when I first saw it at the art shop because I had read about it. I went and bought a second one and a bunch of refills. And I really love it. It's my favorite. Another correction is my Jelly Roll by Sakura, but they run out a little fast. But it's just plain white, has a real fine point instead of using the Pentel Presto, which kind of blobs out on the page. Like if I'm drawing a helmet and I just want a little bit of accented white on it, this is what I use, highlights and everything with this. I carry my extra lead, which is just 0.7 and 0.5 black. The blue, I think it's non-photo blue, but I can't tell. It doesn't look non-photo blue, it just looks like regular blue. And I carry a set of microns, 0.08, 0.03, 0.02, 0.0, 0.005. And I usually carried a brush, but since I've replaced it, I stopped carrying it. And then I used to carry a Takanawa School G pen or the Copic drawing pen, but I've since then switched to the Vanishing Point with a very fine nib, which I did order Takanawa G pens again because this is good for getting down the major ones, but when I'm looking for a real fine line, that Takanawa G pen always gave me a super fine, nice line. And so I ordered a couple of those and some refills. And that's my main drawing supplies. I have, a case with spares and all my pencils, and then I have boxes and boxes of pencils that I've gone through. For coloring, I use 2 different things. My Fiberglass Helm 120 color pencil set. This is really I got this when I was at an art school, and I've used it since, and this is just more than enough colors to draw anything you could think of. For markers, I use these Prismacolor Premiers or Copics. My Copics are put away right now, but my Prismacolors are right here. You know, this is a blue one. I have white, I have blenders, I have every color you can think of. And I don't color much. I like working in black and white. In the comic book I'm going to start working on, I think I'm in a good black and white, depending on what me and my wife decide on. But that's all my hand-drawn stuff. Now I've been learning digital, and for my digital, I've been using Photoshop. And here's my Photoshop. And within Photoshop, I actually went and scanned in one of my comic boards and remade it in Photoshop, so I can have a 11 by 17, and it's actually 11 by 17. And it has everything that, you know, bleed area, the cut areas, how to make double page layouts, name, date, book, issue, page numbers, everything. And that's what I use for my drawing, and I even have it set up kind of where it breaks my line for my bleed. I don't know if you could see that, but that's what I use for 2D. And as all people that follow my page know, I also do 3D work, and I use ZBrush for modeling, getting the rough shape and the defined shape, and I take it over to Maya or 3D Max Studio and refine that shape. And here's my ZBrush, you know. That's what I use for that. And then here's my Maya. As for 2D, I also started learning Houdini, 3D Max Studio, Mudbox, Sketchbook Design, which I don't like. I'm going to upgrade to Sketchbook Pro 6. There's my copy of Minecraft. For 2D, I use Toon Boom, which is, and Storyboard 3D, Pencil Check Pro. Those are my main ones that I've been using for 2D. I got a student copy, and I've been learning them. This is Toon Boom Harmony. I've also been using GIMP for Photoshop work because it's free, but I have CS6. And then Flash is the one I've been learning now, which I've known Flash for a while, but that's my main one. And then for compositing, I use Nuke. For editing, I use Final Cut Pro. And that's my main setup for all my animation. I haven't been doing anything because I've been doing classwork. Here's my Maya 2014. There's some stuff I'm working on now for class. And that's all my digital stuff. Now, for anyone who's subscribing to my channel, and then if you comment between July 30th and let's say August 10th, and leave a comment, I'll pick anybody that's subscribed to me and is on my comic, on a comment. I will be giving away a Pentel stylo, which is good for inking, and a Jelly Roll white for anyone that's following me on subscribing to me and leaves a comment on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's any questions, you want any review on anything I have, like my books, I have a lot of books. I have the animation book by Kit, Chuck-a-Muck by Chuck Jones, Cartoon Animation by Preston Blair, which is a book I recommend for all animators, The Illusion of Life by Frank and Ollie, which is a Disney book, Polygonal Modeling, Basic and Advanced Techniques by Russo, I don't really like. The art book for Zelda, which is Hyrule Historia, another one that everybody should have. Timing for Animation, Your Career for Animation, the Animator's Survival Kit, which I just downloaded the iPad app and I love. It kind of puts the DVDs and the book together. Any of the drawing books that I showed you in the beginning of the video. I also have another full set of book up there, like Stanley's How to Draw Comic Books, Brian Hitch's Ultimate Comic Studio, a couple more up there. I have two more, like a bunch more coming. I try to stock my library of animation and drawing books up because you never know when you want to reference something. It's always there. But as you can tell, this is my passion, so hope you guys enjoy. Please subscribe and please comment. Please like.